rough bitting of Western horses. When we start horses, as you've probably already seen with the videos of when we started Bucky, he was in a head collar. We get them moving, and then generally I'd move to one of two things. Either it be this nice bit of kit, which is what they call a side pull. Basically it's just a rawhide noseband that is secure, much like a hack and roll. And then you have a ring on each side so you can get a direct pull to pull their head. With this particular one, I've got it set up with a set of roping reins, just a couple of knots in there to help if I have to get hold of them and give them a pull. Now, when I'm starting a youngster, I prefer always to start them in something like this, because if you do have to get hold of them and give them a pull, I've got hold of their head, rather than a lump of metal in their mouth, which is going to cause them pain and discomfort. Once I've got them going, well, hang on. The other alternative, Bosal, which basically is just braided rawhide noseband, but rather than having the reins on either side like a side pull, the carty is tied on the heel knot and it just hangs on their nose with a straight headstool holding it in place. Again, these aren't really designed for stopping, they're designed for teaching the horse to turn, and basically you just confuse the horse by going left, right, left, and the horse thinks, oh, hang on, which way do you want me to turn? I'll stop. Okay, so again, you can give them a pull, but you're not damaging the mouth. Now, what I will normally do is when I start a lot of my youngsters, you'll see some people go for big old rubber vulcanite snaffles that are as thick as your arm, because they sit there and they think, oh, it's lots of bit there, so the pressure is spread. Yes, that is quite true, but then you're also teaching them to lean on it because of the amount of pressure that you're having to apply. So what I tend to use is a much thinner bit, so I don't have to use as much pressure, so it's a lot lighter and they're more responsive. The other thing is, you'll probably look at that and go, oh my God, that bit is disgusting. Look at the state of it. It's sweet iron. It's got a taste. A horse will start salivating, mouthing on the bit because they can taste it. Most bits are made out of stainless steel. They're cold. There's no taste. The horse just thinks, bleh. One of the best ways to soften a horse up is get the rustiest, crabbiest old bit you can find, brush all the loose rust off, dunk it, put it in their mouth, and they'll start again playing with the bit, salivating. Happy horse. Now, you will see with this one's rigged with slobber straps onto the rein, so as I pick up, I'm then pulling on the bit, but the second I drop the rein, the slobber strap acts as a hinge, all pressure is then taken off of the mouth. Plus you'll also see I've got a little curb strap on underneath the reins. That's not there to exert any pressure, but at the end of the day we don't ride with nosebands, so technically if I pull on the bit and he opens his mouth, you're going to pull the bit straight through his mouth. But by having the other strap underneath, you've got hold of his entire jaw, so that way you won't be pulling the bit through his mouth. Now once you can get the horse to do everything you want with a snaffle, you would then work up to a curb bit. Now what I tend to do first is I like using this lovely little bit here. A friend of mine got this many years ago and I've got it. Now I can fit this on any horse. The paw rotates, so I can make the mouthpiece smaller or larger depending on the size of horse I'm using it on. Plus the horse can put the paw in a position where he's comfortable. Helps him get used to the bit. Plus, I don't care how good a horseman you are, you're on a horse, the last thing you want to do with a curb bit, a horse goes, ugh. First thing you're going to do is grab hold of them reins. Don't care who you are. This one, lovely. It's sprung loaded, so I'm not going to punch the horse in the mouth just because I've picked up the reins too quickly. Plus it's all twisty and it just helps you get the horse in the right place. I can also undo it and make the shanks longer and this part shorter, depending on what I want. But generally the severity of the bit isn't so much the length of the shank, it is the measurement from the bit to where it connects, where your curb strap is, which then gives you more pressure. So the more length you have there, the harder it is on the horse. Again, once you've got them going in something like that, yeah, you have to butt in, don't you? You then move up to more of a finished bit. This is a working cow horse bit. You have a port, so again, you're not just using pressure on the bars or the lips. We're now talking about using the palate as well as the tongue, but you've got tongue relief because of the port. You've got copper rollers, again, for added taste, etc., etc. Curb strap for leverage for the pole. But again, a lot of people think, oh yeah, big strong bit, it's the only reason that they stop. No. You teach them to stop in those bits first, because what you should be able to do is take your reins off and reattach them with either a plaiting band or even a piece of horsehair and carry on riding your horse. If you break the hair, you're pulling too hard. That's what people need to think of, not the fact that, yeah, the only reason a horse does a sliding stop is because you're trying to pull their back teeth out on such a huge construction like this. You should be able to stop with no reins at all. It's all seat and legs.